Hey, what's going on, gamers? It's the Chronic Gamer here, coming back at you with another character build / guide. And today we are going to be doing a guide on Noelle. So without further ado, let's move straight into the artifacts. As you can see, right now I am rocking the 4-piece Bolide set. Now, the Bolide set is really good in terms of damage, but Noelle is also a healer. So, if you're going for a DPS damage healing Noelle, the Bolide set is really nice. Another really good set that I could recommend for you guys is actually 2-piece Bolide and 2-piece Maiden's Beloved. If you really want to focus on being tanky with Noelle, the 2-piece Bolide will increase your shield's strength by 35%. So if you want to use the shield and swap over to another character, that's really awesome as well, because it's kind of like an overheal, because you can't actually heal above max HP, but if you have a shield, it doesn't count for HP. So this is kind of like a certain way to get overheal. And 2-piece Maiden's Beloved, of course, increases your healing effectiveness by 15%, so that's really nice. Another thing you can just go for is for 4-piece Maiden's Beloved if you want to go into a full healing build. And this works really well as well, because when Noelle goes to do the healing, she always is going to activate at least her elemental skill, but oftentimes she's also going to activate her elemental burst. So she's going to get a 40% boost to healing for 10 seconds, plus the 15%, so that's 55%. And if you have a single constellation in Noelle, when you activate both your elemental skill and your elemental burst at the same time, you have a 100% chance on each auto to activate her healing ability. So it can synergize really well if you want to go into full healing. If you want to split it up, 2-2 is a really nice set as well, because you can get a little bit of increased healing, and you can also get a little bit more survivability and takiness on your DPS. Say you have a Klee, Klee's pretty squishy, you can heal up your Klee, then swap to her and still have this really big shield on her because you increased it by 35% strength. I actually was using a 4-piece Gladiator set for a while there for that 35% normal attack damage bonus, but I would quickly try to get Bolide, because Bolide is just way better, because if instead of a 35%, right, you get a 40% damage bonus while shielded, which if you're playing Noelle you should be getting often, especially if you do an elemental reaction, because the elemental reaction shields do count for the Bolide trigger as well. And this is to both normal and charged attacks, not just normal attacks. So it gives her a lot more flexibility, because I do love doing charge attacks with Noelle, especially when I need to heal, because the charged attack attacks faster than the normal attack. In terms of what artifacts you're going to want to build, or what stats you are going to want on your artifacts, you are going to want a defense helm for DPS Noelle, a defense goblet or geo damage bonus goblet for Noelle. I would recommend going for geo damage bonus over defense if you're going for damage, because geo damage is huge. However, Noelle does scale really well with defense. So if you're looking for utility, you get more survivability, you get some damage, you get less damage, but you do get some damage, and you get more healing with defense artifacts. So you could go defense, or you could go defense, geo damage goblet, and then defense sands or clock piece. And for substats on DPS Noelle, energy recharge is probably the most important substat that you can get, followed by crit rate, defense, and crit damage. And then a flat attack is also nice. However, I would prioritize energy recharge, then crit rate and defense, and then I would prioritize crit damage. And then if you can't get crit damage, I would then go for flat attack. You have a lot more options with Noelle, because usually with main DPSs you don't care about a defense substat, But if you get defense as a substat, it doesn't ruin your artifacts, making it actually kind of easier for you to farm artifacts with Noelle. However, the crit rate and crit damage is still going to be really, really hard to get on your artifacts. If you're going healing Noelle, instead of defense here, you're probably going to want healing effectiveness. But defense is also acceptable because it will increase your healing. In terms of Goblet and clock or timepiece, it's always going to be defense percentage as well. And this is because defense is going to increase your healing, while healing effectiveness is also really, really nice. Obviously, you're always getting an attack on the feather and HP on the flower, so you're just looking at substats. Again, I'm prioritizing energy recharge. I'm going to prioritize defense percentage as well, because you're not going to get defense percentage as the main stat. So I would prioritize defense percent, energy recharge, flat defense, crit rate, crit damage on DPS Noel. On healing Noel, I would just I would get rid of the crit rate, crit damage, and I'd focus on energy recharge, defense, flat defense. And if you can get some flat attack in there or something, that would also be really, really nice. I wouldn't really worry about crit rate, but if you get attack percent, that could also be really, really good, especially if you have some constellations on your Noelle. You're going to be doing some damage just from building defense, even though you're really building healing. Alright, so now we're going to take a quick look at the talents. So you can see from normal attacks, really simple. It scales up like this. You're going to get like 10% on your first auto. In terms of her elemental skill, we are going to get a bit of damage right when we activate it, and the main part of the skill is actually going to be the shield that you gain. So you're going to absorb a lot of damage, and it's going to equal to a huge chunk of your defense. Alright, and a big flat number as well that you're going to absorb, and then you're also going to heal every time you do a normal attack or charged attack based on a certain percentage depending on the skill. So at breastplate level 9, as you can see, every time I do an attack, I have a 58% chance to heal my whole party by 36.2% of my defense, plus an additional 209 every single time I do an attack. So it's a really, really good skill. It gives you some damage, and it gives you a shield and some healing. Really, really nice. And then, of course, the elemental burst. This is the thing which allows Noelle to go into a DPS mode, and all it really does is it does a quick 2 strikes for activation, and it's going to convert, this one's the big one, 60% of your defense at level 7 into attack. Every time you level up the skill, you're getting an additional 4% conversion from defense into attack. And this is basically just the reason why you build a bunch of defense on Noelle, because that defense is going to equal attack regardless. And it is really, really awesome. For her passive talent, this is kind of just a save. So when Noelle is in your party but not on the field, and say your DPS, you're playing Klee, she gets low, Noelle is going to create a shield that lasts for 20 seconds and absorbs damage equal to 400% of Noelle's defense. And oftentimes that's going to be a lot more than the max HP of some characters. So say your Noelle has 2000 defense, you're going to times that by 4, and you're actually going to give a 8000 damage shield to your Klee, as an example. But this effect can only occur once every minute, which isn't too bad, but it is definitely a very, very useful skill, and this will scale really, really hard. If you notice, I think, if you're just noticing this pattern, Noelle is actually just really, really good at scaling. The more defense you build, she's just going to scale harder and harder and harder. She is one of the hardest scaling characters in the game. She's going to start off not too bad. She's going to start off at an okay power level, but the more you invest into her, you're going to notice a more exponential growth. All right. So Nice and Clean is her level 70 passive, and that just means that every 4 normal or charge attacks will decrease the cooldown of your heal by 1 second, which is just really nice because that will just allow you to heal a lot faster. And if you're building a DPS Noelle, you're going to be doing a lot of auto attacks anyways, so you're going to get some free cooldown reduction on your skill. As you can see, it has a 24-second cooldown, so it can be quite a long cooldown. But if you do a few auto attacks, you can easily shave 4 seconds off. And if you have Breastplate active, you're going to be wanting to attack anyways with Bolide set active. In terms of what talent you're going to want to level up first, it's going to depend on what you are looking for. If you are a healer Noelle, you're going to want to upgrade your healing. Of course, your elemental skill is the one that gives you the healing. This is going to be the one that you're going to focus on no matter what. However, if you're going for DPS Noelle, both your normal attack and your ultimate are very important. So I actually already did a test for you guys so that I can definitively say which one I think is better. So if you just want to find out the results of my test, just skip ahead. But otherwise, enjoy the test. Alright, so we're actually just going to do a quick DPS test right now for you guys. Alright. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to alt right here. Alright, and let's see. 1,277. Right, and it increases in value with every auto. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to test how much more damage we will do after we upgrade our normal attack. Alright, so we're just going to quickly level it up to level 7. And we're going to see how effective it is at increasing my overall damage rather than just leveling my ult. So let's just ult straight off the bat. And let's check. 1,390. So it does seem like it is making a really decent increase. Alright, so now we're going to level up our ultimate or elemental burst skill, and we're going to see how much the attack bonus is going to contribute to our overall auto attack damage. If I have my suspicions, I think that the normal attack is going to overall increase your damage, but let's see what this extra 4% defense conversion into attack will do for us. Alright. So our ultimate is now level 7, which means that we are doing we're converting 60% of our defense into attack instead of 56. So now we're just going to ult, and let's see how our auto attacks are doing. 1,400, 1,800. Oh, now we're shielded because we picked up a thing. Okay, so we're still doing massive damage, that's for sure. Alright, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that little test that we did. However, as the results have shown, I think that when you're going for DPS Noel, the normal attack is definitely the one you have to prioritize. It increased our damage by 113 on our very first hit without a crit or Bolide active, whereas the 4% defense converting into attack only increased our damage by 48. So it's safe to say that even though this test wasn't exactly scientific, it being twice as good, I can say that with beyond a reasonable doubt, I believe that normal attack is going to overall increase your DPS versus upgrading your elemental burst. Alright, so now we're going to take a quick look at Noelle constellations. I think Noelle is one of those characters that really depend on her constellations, especially if you're going DPS Noelle. If you're not going DPS Noelle, there's only one constellation that you really need, and that is the very first one, I Got Your Back, which increases the healing chance to 100% on your E when your ult is active. So every time you auto attack with both your elemental skill shield and your elemental burst damage active, it's always going to heal, instead of having a 60% chance or 40% chance depending on how much you've leveled it. Next, we're going to take a look at the second constellation. As you can see with Combat Made, it's also really important, and this is actually useful for healing Noelle as well. However, I'd say it's more useful for DPS Noelle. decreases the stamina consumption of Noelle's charger attacks by 20. And when you are going healing Noelle, most of your attacks are going to be charge attacks because it triggers your healing faster, and increases her charge attack damage by 15%, so that's a nice little bonus as well. Level 3 Constellation is going to be a really nice one if you're healing Noelle. If you're a DPS Noelle, it's not really going to help you too much, but it is necessary in order to get the other constellations, so you're going to pick it up regardless. And that's just going to increase your elemental skill damage by, or your elemental skill level by 3. Constellation 4 is a really nice one as well. When your elemental skill's duration expires or it is destroyed, as in the shield gets destroyed from taking too much damage, you will deal 400% of Noelle's attack as geo damage. So if you have a geo damage cup, this is going to help. If you have a lot of attack, this is going to help. And if you have your ultimate active, you are converting your defense into attack. So this is where the scaling starts to ramp up for Noelle, because your defense is equaling attack, and then your attack's equaling geo damage. And then if you have a geo damage cup, that's also adding on to this elemental skill. So as you can see, the scaling starts to get insane from here on. This is really nice for DPS Noelle, because this is going to basically get you 12% more conversion from your defense into attack. And it's not like a 12% attack boost, because with Noelle, your defense is going to be higher than your attack stat. So 12% of your defense is going to be closer to 20-30% of your attack. So this is actually really nice. And then this is the big one. This one is so insane. If you get this, you're pretty much set for a DPS Noelle. So sweeping time increases Noelle's attack by an additional 50% of her defense. That is insane. So every time you level up that talent, you only get 4%. But this constellation straight up going to give you 50% conversion. Really nice. But if that wasn't good enough, which it totally is, additionally, every enemy defeated during the skill's duration, which is your ultimate, adds 1 second to the duration of your ult. Really nice. This is probably the most insane constellation in the game. If you get this constellation, the DPS on your Noelle is probably going to double. This is insane. This is just the most broken constellation in the game right now. In my opinion, this is the strongest constellation in the game right now. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to support the channel. Anyways, guys, Chronic Gamer out. I'll see you in the next video.